Hello and welcome to The Tangent. Everything we talk about is related, at least tangentially. I'm your host Shane, and this is my guest,
Stefan.
And, want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about how the definitive version of your favorite character does not exist.
That was very official sounding. You sounded like a congressman declaring a law.
I think that's the white half of me. Everything I say sounds very official.
The reason I wanted to talk about this is because Spider-Man Twitter has been pissing me off for the past 2 years and telling me that it's not okay to like MCU Spider-Man. But I love MCU Spider-Man. He's great.
Understandable.
What's the best movie version of Spider-Man in your opinion?
Like Spider-Man or the combo with Spider-Man and Peter Parker?
I mean, yeah, the combo of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Who's the best well-written and the best acted?
As much as I want to say Tobey Maguire, it's not Tobey Maguire.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think he's the best written. He's really cheesy.
I mean, but the cheese is intentional.
Well, yeah. And I love the cheese is great, but Tom Holland,
Really?
I think, is the better written Spider-Man.
Okay. Well, a lot of people would disagree with you because Homecoming doesn't have not stakes, consequence. They argue.
I think that's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
Really?
That's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
Why is that?
Vulture fucking dies.
No, he doesn't. He goes to prison.
Okay. I didn't mean that literally.
Oh, okay.
Like, he got his shit blown up.
Yeah, he did. I did like how. I remember seeing that movie for the first time and like freaking the fuck out when I realized that Liz's dad was Vulture.
Oh, yeah, that...
Because that was a change from the books, and I was like, yo.
The scene in the car is...
The scene in the car
is amazing.
It's I watched a One Marvelous Scene about it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's incredible. It's so good.
It's probably the best written scene in the entire movie.
Yeah. It's probably like... I think that's the most realistic and well-written way that anyone's ever found out
about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because like they're just casually talking,
and then
like,
he just
it starts off with him being like,
I
this
love
kid
it.
is cool.
Fucking
like,
Michael Keaton is such a good actor. You just see him putting the pieces together in his head.
As he's slowly going, and he's like the part where he's like, oh yeah, your party was so nice. You have a real nice house, a lot of glass. And she's like, what do you mean? You're only there for 2 seconds. And then he looks in the mirror, and he's like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was there, and she was like, no,
you disappeared.
Yeah,
like you always
disappeared, like you always did, like you did at Washington. And then he looks in the mirror, looks like Peter, like dead in the eyes, and he's like, and you can and like you visually see like, oh, yeah, he fucking knows.
It's like have I met you before? The voice and everything.
Yeah.
And she's like, he was at the athletic decathlon.
Right.
And he's like, oh, all right. And she's like, and he disappeared. And he's like, oh, good thing
he disappeared.
Spider-Man was there.
Right. And he was like, no, I wasn't in the elevator. You know, I was watching it all from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, he's like, have you ever met Spider-Man? And he's like, yeah, you know, really cool guy, solid dude. I was like, yo,
solid man, he said.
Right. And when he's, I love the part in that scene where like the light changes and the green on his face is just. Why are all Spider-Man's villains green? Green Goblin, Vulture, Dr. Octopus, Scorpion.
You know, I actually don't know.
I think it's really like a color contrast thing.
Right.
Like to the red and blues.
Yeah. I actually hadn't noticed that till you just pointed that out.
Because I watched a NerdSync video that was like, that like heroes tend to wear like primary colors.
Right.
So that's why you have like predominantly reds on characters like Iron Man, Spider-Man, and the Flash.
Right.
Or how Superman is like reds and blues and a little bit of yellow. And like villains are always in secondary colors. So like the idea that the Hulk is green is like thematic to his idea of, oh, I'm a monster.
Yeah.
Or like how Lex Luthor is always fucking with Kryptonite, or he has the green like power suit or whatever.
Speaking of Hulk, I hate MCU Hulk.
I don't hate MCU Hulk.
I hate MCU.
I don't hate MCU Hulk.
I hate MCU Hulk. After Avengers.
Avengers 1?
Avengers 1.
So you like him in Avengers 1?
And that is about it.
When he's like, I'm always angry.
That is the best iteration of Hulk we've ever gotten.
I can't disagree with that.
I hated Age of Ultron.
The movie or just Hulk?
Just Hulk's part in it.
I
hated it, and how it was like, and that was like, ooh, I want to suck your Hulk pee-pee.
I didn't hate that. Hey big guy, the sun's getting real low.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
that was kind of that felt
like taming
kind of
the
contrived.
monster kind of thing. I get what they were going for with it.
I didn't stop liking MCU Hulk until Endgame.
No.
Spoilers for Endgame. I hate Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk, whatever you want to call him. I hate it.
Yeah,
He's so annoying.
I hate it for getting rid of Hulk as a character. That's the only reason why I hate it.
For getting rid of like Savage Hulk.
Yeah, no, like Hulk as a character, because Hulk's not a character anymore. Because Hulk was his own separate character. Now Banner
Hulk
is
like
the personality.
But Banner's just in the Hulk body. Right. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
So Hulk's gone now, and I hate that.
I don't like
because
Smart Hulk. Like I'm a fan of like Hulk. Of like being intelligent. But like you said, I like the idea that Hulk is like a separate character.
Because like Age of Ultron for me kind of ruined him, but like not entirely. Right. And then Thor Ragnarok kind of almost brought him back for me. The scene where they're in the plane.
Yeah.
And that
I watched
on the screen.
Oh, it's another one marvelous scene about that.
And he starts fucking like tearing the fucking
and he's like, I don't want
screaming.
Yeah, he's like, I want Banner to come back, and he's like,
he's like, because he finally got to live his own life.
Right, he's like punching himself in the face and he doesn't turn back.
Right, and then like it was like a real humanizing moment, but it was also like, you know, this man is still a monster kind of moment. Like the way he would scream and like the grotesque shrinking and then
that was kind of disturbing.
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
It was amazing.
Right.
But then
a lot more profound than than seeing Hulk's ass cheeks.
Yeah, and then I really fucking hated what they did with him in Infinity War. I hated that.
I didn't really care.
I didn't really care. And then he was like, no, thank you.
I liked.
Because that's not Hulk, dude.
I liked him getting his ass beat, and as far as that, it showed you the power of Thanos.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I hate how he was just like, no, thank you. I don't want to be involved anymore.
Let me ask you this, right? Do you more subscribe to the idea that Hulk didn't come out because he was scared of Thanos, or because he was like, I don't want to just serve Banner?
That he was scared of Thanos. I think that's the only real reason.
Because I think the collective thing that we all made up in our heads was that he was scared.
Yeah.
But I think the Russos came out and said he was like, Hulk wants to live as Hulk and not just serve the needs of Banner.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I didn't really care about that. I like understood it, and it didn't bother me. But
I would have been fine with it if like they actually finished Hulk's arc instead of just completely writing out his character.
I would have preferred Smart Hulk if I had seen him work towards it.
Yeah. Like that's my thing. Is like finish his arc, have them actually come together on screen.
Right. They literally like
I don't hate Professor Hulk, but have it build up to have both of those characters finish their arcs and then you can join.
Right.
Don't just have Banner kind of have his arc as I'm Banner and then 5 years later I'm Professor Hulk now.
Like why though? And like okay, because here's the thing. There's elements of I forgot to ask you this. How do you feel about Ed Norton Hulk?
I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I know it's an unpopular opinion because everyone was like, "This is the best thing fucking ever."
I mean, not really. A lot of people said that the Incredible Hulk is the worst MCU movie.
I mean, it is.
Thor though.
Thor: Dark World maybe, but Thor 1 is better. I actually enjoy Thor.
Unpopular opinion. I think Thor: The Dark World. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's watchable.
Yeah, well, all the movies are watchable.
Right, but Thor 1, I hated when it first came out.
No.
After the Avengers came out...
I don't love it, but I really...
After the Avengers came out, I was like, oh, I get it. It serves the purpose of introducing us to Thor so that we understand who he is in the context of the Avengers and the greater Marvel Universe.
Right.
But as a movie on its own, I hated it when it came out. I remember thinking it was a piece of shit.
I feel like I have bias because Thor is one of my favorite characters in the comics.
See, I wasn't really aware of Thor until the movies. That's another thing about the MCU and why it's special, is that literally the only Marvel character that I cared about or knew about or cared to know about before the MCU was a thing was Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure I knew the Hulk, but I didn't really give a shit about him.
Right.
But I can 150% tell you that I had never heard of Iron Man or Captain America before the movies.
Really? You didn't even watch the Iron Man TV show?
The 90s one? Armored Adventures?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I watched it after I saw the movie. That's why I was like, why is Iron Man like a teenager? That's weird.
Yeah, okay. That's fair enough.
Like, literally speaking, like, all those characters were introduced to me via the MCU. Once I saw the Avengers movie, then I was like, oh, there's other characters in this universe that I can care about that aren't Spider-Man.
Right.
And then I would, like, watch cartoons and stuff, which is, like, when Black Panther came out, I
Yeah.
was like, listen, all y'all fake fans, I've been messing with T'Challa since 2010 when Earth's Mightiest Heroes was on.
Yes.
Yo, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, bro.
It's
I
such
love
a
it.
good fucking
It's so good.
It's really, it's like Justice League Unlimited, but like 20 times worse. And the fact that you just can't have anything as good as Justice League Unlimited ever.
I mean, I agree with that. I think
Not that it's a bad show, you just can never have anything.
you literally
as good as
can't.
Justice League
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
It's Justice League Unlimited is perfect. Justice League,
Pretty much,
the
yeah.
first Justice League show is good.
It's good.
But
It's
Justice League
serviceable.
Unlimited is not.
It's serviceable for introducing a lot of the characters. But
Right, and it's good. It has merit
Yeah.
on its own. It's amazing, but it's not as good as Unlimited.
Oh no, Unlimited
It's everything.
pretty much, yeah.
Right. I loved when they wait, was that in Unlimited? Pretty sure it was Unlimited when Lex fused with Brainiac, right?
Yes.
And then like Flash like went into the Speed Force for the first time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That was the
Unlimited.
That was amazing.
Um,
As far as
do
cartoons
you-
go, right?
Have you watched the DC animated movies?
Of course, I love the DC animated movies. The only ones that I don't like are the newer like New 52 ones.
Did you watch Gotham by Gaslight?
I did not watch Gotham by Gaslight. Because of the New 52 ones, I haven't really watched any of the recent ones.
Okay.
So like I heard that like I watched Teen Titans, The Judas Contract. I watched Teen Titans versus
Oh, yeah.
Justice League. I watched Batman and Son. I
Did you
watched
watch
Batman
Doom?
versus Robert. What?
Did you watch Doom?
Justice League Doom
Doom?
is probably my favorite Justice League movie.
Good culture.
I love that. Yeah, I love the scene at the end where they're kicking him out of the Justice League, and they're all like, but we would never breach your trust like this. We would never create contingency plans to defeat you. And he's like, then
Right.
you're damn fools.
Right.
I love that. That and like Under the Red Hood are probably like my favorite
Oh yeah.
pieces of Batman content that exist.
You don't like where they introduced Damien and all that?
See, that's what I said.
Son of the Bat and stuff.
I liked Son of Batman. Son of
Yeah.
Batman was good, but every other Son of Batman and Justice League War are like good,
Yeah.
but every other New 52 movie that I've seen is either serviceable or kind of annoying.
Did you watch the Teen Titan ones?
Yeah, I watched both the Teen Titans ones.
What did
I
you
liked the Judas Contract. I didn't really
Right.
mesh with Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Yeah, I think Judas Contract was way better
Yeah,
because I like the storyline, obviously.
Terror and all that.
Right, it's one of the most, it's probably the most well-known Teen
Right,
Titans
story,
because
yeah.
of the animated show and how
Animated show
long
did pretty
this-
well.
Yeah, they did.
They spent some good time on
They
it.
spent a lot of time building up
Right.
that, like the turn, and anyone who like wasn't familiar with it, with the comics
Right.
was like really getting attached to her character. And that was like boom.
I remember watching that as a little kid and just being like, "Yo, Terra's just an earthbender, dog."
Right.
I remember just being Terra's.
Oh, I was watching because I own the whole series. I was watching it yesterday.
What? Teen Titans or Avatar?
Avatar. I was watching Tales of Ba Sing Se, the best episode in the entire series.
It's a long, long way to Ba Sing Se, but the girls in the city, they look so pretty. The sad part is that's gonna go on the internet.
Yeah.
But wait, is that the that's the one where Sokka is like a damn he does the haikus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he does one too many syllables and gets
Thrown out.
tossed out.
And that's the same one where they have the brave soldier boy.
Yeah, Iroh's whole thing with
That-
where it's his son's birthday.
Yeah, that still gets me to this day, and it's like a tribute to the voice actor for Iroh because
Right.
he passed away around that time.
Yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite shows of all time.
I think Last Airbender is the best thing ever put to screen. Period.
Really, better than Unlimited.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Because while Justice League Unlimited is an amazing show, it didn't the themes of it didn't resonate with me as much as Avatar. Like Avatar is like one of the greatest things I like about Avatar, which is it's not a story of good versus evil. It's about balance.
Right.
It's about how everything has its place, and
Yeah.
because the Fire Nation isn't evil. Ozai is evil. Right.
Yeah.
And even Zuko comes around. in
Right,
there.
like they go to great lengths to
Zuko's
show
arc.
show you that in book 3.
Right.
Book 3 is my favorite book in the entire series.
Here's the thing. I actually don't really like book 1.
Me neither.
The first season is
Like-
kind of whack.
Like, if I'm going through and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch the whole series beginning to end. That is the only time I will actively watch book 1.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, I will skip book 1 and I will skip
I will
book
skip
2
it.
and I will go straight to 3.
Yeah. Book
3,
2.
actually no. 2 I love.
2's
because
great.
Earth. The Book of Earth is actually I
It's
take
fantastic.
it back. That's probably my favorite book.
Nah, 3 has got to be for me.
Nah.
Only because of how much Zuko comes around.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite episodes
love-
is the one where he's like hiding out where he like runs away from Iroh, and he's like hiding out in the Earth Nation still.
Yeah.
And he gives the kid the knife that says
Oh.
never give up without a fight.
Yeah.
And everyone like is messing with him and thinks he's great until he firebends at the end.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, fuck you. You're from the Fire Nation.
Right. Because Zuko is my favorite character in the show, I
Definitely.
appreciate Book 3 a little more because that's when you really start to see his change.
Zuko's arc is probably like
It's everything to me.
yeah, it's
literally everything.
It's
to
the
me.
greatest arc in television history. I feel like I'm gonna get known for like overly praising Avatar.
Yeah.
Like everyone's gonna be like, yo, this guy loves Avatar.
In Book 3, one of the reasons my favorite episode is Tales of Ba Sing Se is his segment with the girl who has a crush on him and they go out on a date.
That episode is really cute. I like that episode. And he's like, close your eyes, and he like
yeah, and then he
all the
firebends
torches.
and like you can tell that she knows that
Right, she's not stupid.
Right, she knows he's a firebender, but she accepts that, and
Right.
she's like, I don't care that you're a firebender.
You're a cool guy.
Yeah,
Right.
and then like they kiss, and he's like, no, May,
Right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And
He
then-
still has May.
and then he at that time they were actually broken up, like they had just broken up.
Right. Or the scene. Oh my god, this is probably one of my favorite episodes. Is the Boiling Rock,
Yes.
where he finds out the end of the war and it's being May's
Yeah.
like uncle or dad or something.
Yeah. Boiling Rock is a good episode.
Boiling Rock's a great episode.
At the end of Tales of Ba Sing Se.
Yeah.
Like he's all mad and then he slams the door
Yeah.
and Uncle Ira was like, oh, was it bad? And then he opens it up a little bit and he was like, I had a nice time. And then Ira was like smiles a little bit because even though he's his uncle, like at that point, he had always been the one taking care of him, so
Right.
he sees him more as a son.
Yeah, of
He-
course, of course.
He sees him as
Iroh was always more of a father than Ozai ever was.
Right. Obviously Ozai, because Ozai was a shit father. I don't know if you read the fucking comic.
I didn't read the comic, but I did watch a video about it.
Uh-huh.
I never got around to
Okay,
actually
so you
reading
know
it.
like Azula's arc and everything then. How it comes to like.
I
the
don't
end.
really remember that. What I do remember is finding out that like that the marriage between Ozai and Zuko's mom was like arranged.
Yeah, and
So
then
they never really loved each other. And she
yeah.
was always like, what did she always do? She was always very protective of Zuko and them.
Yeah.
And I remember in the show when Azula was like, "Oh, Dad's gonna kill you,"
Mm-hmm.
and I think the idea was that the only way to save Zuko was for her to be banished, and that's why she ran away.
Yeah. In the comics, basically, the comics take a more of approach of focusing on Zuko and Azula and their relationship because that was like the biggest thing that was left unresolved in the
One of the
series.
funniest things about that is at some point in the show, Zuko's talking to Iroh about Azula,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Listen, like, Azula's a problem, and like, I know you think that, I know like your peacemaker mind makes you think that I should be like, oh, she's my sister, and I should be trying to get along with her." And I was like, "Nah, she's crazy. She's got to go down."
Right.
I was just like, "That's how you know Azula's off it." Funny thing about
I don't-
comics too, but
Azula's actually one of my favorite characters in the series.
oh, Azula's great. Azula's amazing.
She has probably the most in-depth damage done by her father
Right.
and the war and his warmongering
Right.
basically.
I like the episode where they go to the beach.
Yeah.
And you find
And
out
it
that
shows-
Azula can just be a kid.
No, it's that episode literally serves the point of proving she cannot just be a kid.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
She's so focused on war and
That she doesn't know
like,
anything
Yeah,
else.
like she was bred from a young age for war. She was the stronger firebender, so she
Right.
was taken in more by her father than by her mother.
right.
Where
Her
Zuko
father
was
and
he was a
Azula
softer
and
kid.
everyone. Right. Zuko just wanted to have fun.
Right.
Zuko was a regular kid, but Azula was a
But-
psychopath from day one.
Right, and then so she was taken more on her father's side, and in that episode, like you see her try like her desperate attempts to just be like a normal kid,
Right,
and,
like when
even
she,
flirt with a guy.
Yeah, when she flirts with the guy, and she's like,
you're
"We'll be the
gonna-
most powerful couple in all
No,
the Fire
my
Nation."
favorite part is where she's like, "That's a pretty sharp outfit, Chad.
What you talking about?
You could puncture the hull of the Class C Imperial Fire Nation warship, leaving thousands stranded to die
It's
because
like-
your outfit is so
sharp,
sharp.
yeah.
You get it?" And then he's like, thanks.
I forgot about that shit. I had me dying.
Yeah, because like it's
Or
like
when
she
they're
doesn't
chilling,
know how to
interact.
interact with
Like
people her
when,
age.
like when she was chilling, like when they're all chilling by the bonfire,
Mhm.
and she's like sad, and she's like, my own mother thought I was a monster.
Right.
She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
all weird.
Like she understands what she is.
Right, and she accepts it.
Right. Like she's like, yeah, I've been bred for war, and that's all I can really
That's
do.
all I know.
And then that bleeds into the comics where,
Or not even that far yet. When she snaps in the last episode.
yeah, because she's beaten,
Right.
and then she doesn't know what to do with herself.
Exactly.
So basically, what actually happens is she doesn't go to jail.
Right.
She actually escapes.
Really.
And yeah. So in the comics, it's mostly focused on the young Fire Lord Zuko
Mm-hmm.
and Azula and how they actually come together again.
Really?
Yeah.
What is this?
In
what
a
is her?
fucked up way.
Right,
In a
what
very
is-
fucked up way.
What is her place in the new Fire Nation now that Zuko's the Fire Lord?
So it starts out as she basically, her and a group of followers dress up as like Fire Nation spirits
Okay.
and start killing people.
Oh.
And it's like, basically it's said that these spirits
Mm-hmm.
are like war or
Mhm.
will continue to kill people because she's like, basically in the comics her role is effectively trying to make Zuko the best Fire Lord he could possibly be. And she says that. She's like,
By killing people?
no, because in her mind, the best version of a Fire Lord
Mm-hmm.
is the strong type that just wants to war and conquer. Because that's all like.
Oh, so
known.
she tries to like torture him into being better. So she's like
being
Zoom.
more aggressive. Right. And in a way.
Right,
yeah.
and because Zoom's idea of like I need to make Wally West a better Flash, so I'm going to torment him and make his life shit so he
Yeah.
can be a better hero.
Right, and it's also more on Zoom is his thing is I just want to be your friend basically.
Well, that's more a reverse Flash than Zoom, because Zoom kind of like
Right.
because currently in the comics Zoom is kind of like I am God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you read Joshua Williamson's run, he's like I have access to all the forces other than speed. I've mastered the Sage Force and the Strength Force
Right.
and the whatever force. It's like the Still Force. Is there another one?
I don't fucking know.
It's speed, strength, sage, still. I think that's it. But he's like, I mastered all the forces. I'm basically God, or like I'm the one true Flash, or whatever.
Right.
And that's his whole deal.
Yeah.
It's funny too because I was gonna say this because you actually read the Last Airbender comics and I haven't.
Yes.
You are like the first person to ever be like, I read more comics than you. Or I have read
No,
different comics
okay.
than you.
So basically every time I try to talk to Shane about comics, he's like, oh, I've never read that.
Okay,
Man
listen.
doesn't read comics.
I read comics. Listen, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Here's the difference between me and you, right? You go back and you read all the classics.
Yeah. All right.
I just read what's current
Okay, that's fair.
because I have read. And that's the thing is, that's my thing is I don't like. I like graphic novels and everything, right?
Right.
But my problem is I don't want to read something and then it's just finished.
Okay.
It's frustrating to me. Like I don't like just reading. I was like, oh, well, it's one arc. I'm done. I don't like that. Like I want comics to be a steady flow of. Like I have replaced reading comic books week to week with watching a new episode of a TV show.
Right.
So it's like I want to read something that's going to be long form, so I have something to look forward to every day instead of just reading one thing. So it's which is like similar to like TV or like the MCU because it's like you watch this movie and then there's going to be like 15 movies you can watch later.
Right.
And that's why I haven't read a lot of the classics is because they're all self-contained. So
Yeah.
I will go back and I prefer to read someone's entire run rather than just reading one little arc.
Okay.
So like I've read every single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Right.
I've read all 160 issues of the original Ultimate Spider-Man run. I've read both of the Miles Morales solo series that took place in the Ultimate Universe before he got transferred over.
Right.
And then I read his entire run that took place in 616. And I think I just stopped reading his current run because I don't like it. But that being said, right,
Uh-huh.
that's what I like about comics. Like, I prefer to go and just watch videos about all the previous history so I can just jump into whatever's current.
Right.
Rather than to go back and have to read a whole catalog of a billion issues.
I'm the exact opposite. If there's something that's currently running like Flash,
Mhm.
I didn't jump straight into Flash.
Mm.
What I did was I watched recaps of everything up till what I hadn't started reading, just so I could jump into it and
Right.
not have to go back and buy issues 1 through like 20.
Exactly.
or whatever.
Right. It's the same thing I did because I was aware of all the New 52 stuff.
Right.
I had the first 2 arcs of that, and I watched a ton of videos about it, and I was like, okay, I like read like shit on the wiki and everything, and I was like, I'm fairly confident that I know everything that happened to be able to jump into this, and I actually read Flash from like when Flash Rebirth came out, like not the original Flash Rebirth, but when Rebirth was a thing, and like they did all those little Zero issues. I read that first one for the Flash, and then I read that series from that point on. Like I've literally been reading that series for like 3 years.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, like it's literally like it's like 70 issues in or 71 or something like that,
Okay.
and I have consistently read all of them.
Oh, alright.
Like that's how I am with books. Like the only other series I was like that with, like as it was coming out,
Mhm.
I think is Tom King's Batman.
Alright.
But sometimes I hate it, so I skipped the War on Jokes and Riddles because that shit was boring as fuck, and I skipped the recent arc
Alright.
that was like the Nightmares or whatever.
No, I haven't. These days I'm more into Marvel comics than I am.
That's my thing about Marvel is I don't really care about any Marvel character outside of Spider-Man,
Right.
outside of the MCU.
Right.
Like I love the MCU Captain America. That's my guy. That's my boy. Chris Evans does a masterful job. But I have never like picked up a Captain America book. And
Yeah,
be like, this is great.
Yeah, I don't read like Avengers or Captain America. Right now, my current favorite like running thing.
You said it was Doctor Strange,
was
right?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I'm loving the current Doctor Strange.
I'm actually reading more Marvel than DC right now, though. That's only because Marvel likes to have 15 Spider-Man books out at one time.
Yeah.
So I'm reading Amazing, Friendly Neighborhood, and Spider-Man Life Story, along with Daredevil. Daredevil's really
Yeah,
good.
you told me to read that.
Because I like Chip Zdarsky. He's really, really good.
Right.
He did Spectacular. He did Spectacular Spider-Man for a while, and that was
Right.
really good. And this actually goes back to the topic that we were supposed to have that we never ended up addressing. Everything's related tangentially. What did I say? We said that your favorite version of your character doesn't actually exist, and we just talked about Avatar instead.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. We talked about this at school, which is that like there's not a lot of 616 Spider-Man stories that I like.
Right.
Which is mainly only because like I have a hard time reading stories that took place or that were written before like 2000.
Right.
Only because the style of writing and art is just different and weird, and and I just don't like it.
Right.
And I mean the 90s is okay, but still it's just kind of just off-putting for me. And like there's only 1 or 2 modern like Amazing Spider-Man writers, which is Dan Slott and J. Michael Straczynski.
Right.
And I hate Dan Slott.
Really?
Yeah, I hate him. Here's the thing. Here's what I don't like about Dan Slott. Now, it's a very bold claim for me to say I hate Dan Slott, because I've literally read like 2 issues of his stuff.
Oh, jeez.
But the thing that I don't like about Dan Slott, right, is I read right after the Parker Industries stuff.
Right.
And the reason why I didn't jump in at that point was because I was like, because the draw in for Spider-Man is that he's just a guy who's like down on his luck. So to make him Iron Man in that way,
I mean, they don't really make him Iron Man, and that's one of the things I hate about the trailers for Spider-Man: Far From Home. Is because they keep saying you have to be the next Iron Man.
Here's the thing.
I hate that.
Okay, in context, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they literally mean Iron Man.
I don't think
they're going to go
mean
the Parker
either.
Industries direction. I think one of 2 things. I think either when he says that, he means I need to be a symbol like Iron Man was, and thematically, or not thematically, but in a real life context, he's going to be the new face of the MCU.
Right.
Or, and no one has ever, I've seen this brought up on Twitter once, he says the world needs its next Iron Man.
Right.
He didn't say anything about himself. He could be talking about Mysterio.
No, I really don't think so.
I mean, they say in the trailer, he's like Iron Man and Thor mixed together.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe.
I really don't.
I don't either, but it's possible. I don't think they mean that.
I
literally.
like your idea.
I mean, he needs to step up to the plate.
I like your idea the best about what you think Mysterio's whole part to play is going to be in Far From Home.
Oh, what do you mean? Where I was like, he's just lying about everything?
Yeah, I think that I like that the best, other than he's just, hello, I'm from a different universe.
I don't even think he's from a different universe.
No,
I think this whole multiverse thing is just a bait and switch.
Yeah, but also I think because their exact words is he was snapped in from another dimension.
No, it was just the snap tore a hole into
right.
our multiverse. Yeah.
Like they literally say he was snapped in from another dimension.
Okay,
and that goes into what you
Shield
think they're doing
says-
with X-Men.
Right,
Yes,
a little bit. Shield said. Our time is up. But this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Alright.
I can just edit that part. Shield did say that the tear, the interdimensional tear exists,
Right.
and I'm gonna take Fury's word for it. However,
Right.
I think that Mysterio's bullshit when he's like, "I'm from another universe."
Yeah.
Especially because in Mysterio's first appearance, what he did was masquerade as a hero.
Yeah.
He pretended to be Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man was like, "No, it's not.
It's not me.
Right.
It's not me.
Now, I also think that, and this is wild accusations here, I kind of think that Molten Man, Hydra Man, and all those other characters, the Elementals, I think that that's bullshit too, and they're just illusions.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he would be able to pull that off though?
Yes.
And okay, maybe in the comics, but I don't think they would pull that.
I think they would pull that in the movie.
I don't.
Or
think so.
at the very least, if he's not like, if they're not like illusions or like fake.
They're working together.
Right, they're
Yeah.
working together, and he's just taking them down to pretend that he's the hero.
Yeah, I'll go with that because I'm trying to think of what it was, but there was something where he would release villains or like he would create villains just to stop them.
That reminds me of Spectacular, but I don't remember Mysterio ever doing that.
No, not Mysterio, but someone.
Was it Tombstone?
No, I think it was from DC.
Oh.
And I remember that being a thing with someone, and I just can't.
They would just create supervillains.
Or something like that, where he would like work with the supervillains to make himself look like a hero more. I cannot remember.
Reverse Flash did something like that.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. In the new, like, rewritten, like, his new origin story.
No, it's
I know, but I'm just saying that he would, in his new origin story, he became, like, the Flash of the 25th century or wherever he's from.
Oh, no, yeah, that is what I'm talking
and
about.
he would put people in danger and then save them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. See, you're here because you actually read the Flash comics. and I just watched that in a video.
See? You're talking a lot of shit about how many comics I read. And I read them, I'm telling you. But that's back to what we were saying earlier about let's actually get into the meat of what we said we were going to talk about today.
Yeah. The thing that made me realize that that the definitive version of my favorite character doesn't exist.
And what made me realize
my
this
favorite character is Nightwing.
Right.
And every time we try to talk about Nightwing, you're like, Nightwing comics are shit, and I'm like, you're not wrong.
Nightwing's a great character. I
He
love Dick Grayson, but I've never heard of like a really good Nightwing run.
Right, because
Grayson's good.
Grayson's amazing.
I haven't read that, but I heard Grayson's good.
Grayson's
and,
amazing.
Grant Morrison when Dick Grayson was Batman,
is amazing.
that's good too. But there's no really good run where he is Nightwing.
Yeah. Like my favorite character, what you may realize, isn't actually Nightwing. It's Dick Grayson.
Exactly. It's Dick Grayson.
It's not Nightwing. It's Dick Grayson. He just happens to appear mostly as Nightwing.
And when he does, he's not even mostly as Nightwing. He's just most well known as Nightwing or like Robin. I think my favorite version of Dick is probably the Young Justice version.
No, not for me.
Really? You don't like Young Justice?
I love Young Justice.
Young
Justice is one of my favorite recent cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
It falls right in line with Avatar: The Last
Oh,
Airbender.
we don't like the word cartoon on here. We'll say cartoon. It's animated series.
I mean, it aired on Cartoon Network.
No, I don't see the point. Listen.
One of my favorite recent animated series falls right in line with The Last Airbender.
Right.
And
let me ask you this: as
nature.
you read Nightwing and Dick Grayson in comics, do you think that the Young Justice is a good representation of the character?
Absolutely.
Okay. See, I only say he's my favorite because that's the one I've been most exposed to. Because I haven't read a lot of Nightwing in book form.
Right.
And the only other like versions of Dick Grayson that I can think of off the top of my head have been from like animated series.
Right.
And such. Of course, unless you want to talk about the Chris O'Donnell.
No.
Fucking Batman and Robin, fucking Dick Grayson.
Not really, no.
He's a dickhead.
I don't want to talk about that, actually.
No one wants to talk about that.
That was pretty shit.
But back to Spider-Man, right? What I was trying to say earlier is that because I want to read what people consider to be the definitive, like modern age amazing Spider-Man run. But the more and more I look at it, the more and more I feel like it kind of doesn't exist.
Right.
And that being said, right, it's because of what I was saying about Dan Slott, and I didn't like I said, I didn't want to read the Parker Industries stuff because I was like, that's not.
All new, all different, right?
Yeah.
That's what that was?
Yeah, it was all new, all different. I didn't want to read that because I was like, I don't want to read Parker Industries Spider-Man. I want to read Down on His Luck, I'm Broke as Hell Spider-Man.
Right.
And I didn't want to read Superior Spider-Man. I wasn't mad
I
at
love
Superior Spider-Man
as
much.
good.
Because here's the thing. Anytime there's a big change in comics, I'm like, it's not going to last. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wait it out.
I really like Superior Spider-Man.
I might get around to reading that one of these days. There is a Dan Slott book that I like. I did like the 5-issue mini of Renew Your Vows before the mainline Renew Your Vows.
Yeah.
I really like Renew Your Vows.
Yeah.
I like the mainline series, and I like that little 5-issue by Slott. But as soon as I read the arc immediately after All New, All Different,
Yeah.
where he's like back to being down on his luck.
Right.
But the writing on it was just really bad, and I just didn't like it. And it was where he was like, "Oh, I tried to." Where Human Torch was like, "You said you were gonna save the Baxter Building in case the Fantastic Four ever came back, but look at you, you're selling it." And he's like, "Listen, I literally have no choice in the matter.
Right.
Like, this is business, and I don't even control the company anymore. The building just isn't mine."
Right.
And like they like fight over it. Like they have a fist fight over it. And I was like, this is so like childish and disrespectful to these characters. That I literally read half of it and like threw the book away.
I didn't particularly dislike All New, All Different, but it's definitely not.
It's not anyone's favorite.
No, it's not something I would ever go back and read.
Exactly. Like, and for me, right? And also, I read J. Michael Straczynski's run, and J. Michael Straczynski is good, but I have two really big problems with it.
Okay.
He introduces Morlun and the spider totems and Ezekiel and all that.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that. I don't.
That's fair.
Like,
I don't like it either.
I think thematically part of Spider-Man's whole thing is that genetics and science, and I'm intelligent and science.
Right.
And to just be like, no, maybe the spider like had magic spider powers before it was even irradiated, and maybe it like chose you. And it, I don't like that.
Either.
I like him fighting Morlun only because Morlun is like stupidly powerful and hard to defeat. But I didn't like that. And also, J. Michael Straczynski just has Spider-Man kill people sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
He kills two people. One of them I don't count.
I mean, he's been killing people. I mean, he killed Gwen Stacy, you know what I mean?
But that was an accident.
Yeah.
And he killed Wolverine's girlfriend in Germany in Spider-Man vs. Wolverine, but that was an accident too.
I mean, but people die.
Right, and that's fine. But these people he like intentionally goes out of his way to kill.
I mean,
like, okay.
I'm not saying Spider-Man wouldn't do that.
I'm saying Spider-Man wouldn't do that. That's exactly what I'm
just
saying.
saying. Well, how old is Spider-Man in the Straczynski run?
In the Jameis run?
Is he young Peter or is he older Peter?
He's older Peter.
Okay, so he's like 25.
Yeah, 25, 30. He's been that age since like the 70s.
Well, yeah, I know, but they like to
Well, not 80s.
they like to jump around with his age a lot.
Yeah, they do. Because in the current run, he's like, "Oh, I'm 25," and I'm like, "Are you?"
Yeah, they.
You've been 25 since 1990, my guy.
Right. But I feel like maybe teenage Peter Parker wouldn't kill someone, but I think older Peter Parker wouldn't really be opposed to killing someone.
See,
but it wouldn't be like his first. It wouldn't be like his first option. It would be like
there are scenarios where
I'll kill you, I guess.
There are scenarios where I'm like, oh yeah, Spider-Man can kill.
Right.
Like in Renew Your Vows, it's like I'm protecting my daughter. I will do anything to protect my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Venom, but you're trying to consume my child. You have to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eddie. Sorry, Symbiote. That for me, that's fine.
Oh yeah. What do you think of Venom World? Do you like that?
Venom World? What is that?
Oh, you didn't read that?
No, I don't read Venom.
Okay. Then that's not something I'm gonna get into because I thought it was stupid as fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't read that. What is that? Is that recent?
Literally Symbiote World.
Is that like the Dan Coates thing? Or what's his name? Danny Cates?
I don't fucking know who wrote fucking Symbiote.
Don Coates? What is his name? I keep confusing him with Ta-Nehisi Coates, but that's not him.
Who fucking wrote Symbiote World? I don't remember.
Is that recent?
Relatively.
Because I heard the new Venom thing. The new Venom run is really good. Pretty sure it's Donnie Coates. Venom.
Symbiote World.
Cates. Donnie Cates.
No, it was 1995.
Oh. So it's back during Symbiote Mania when everything was about symbiotes.
Yeah.
So obviously it's fucking trash.
It was story centers on the invasion of Earth by an army of symbiotes.
Oh, you mean every Spider-Man game ever?
Isn't that literally
Web of Shadows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Literally Web of Shadows.
Who wrote that?
Um,
Is it Michelini?
no, Jim Shooter.
No, this is created by Jim Shooter.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're right. Jim Shooter. I've heard of Shooter, but I'm not fully aware. I think he wrote like a bunch of stuff in the 70s. But back to what I was saying, right? There's 2 kills in the Jam Ass run. And that's these mobsters get buried all in the same place in like the 50s. And then that spot gets gamma irradiated.
Okay.
And they like and it brings them back to life, and they're kind of an amalgamation of all the different mobsters into one big gamma monster.
Okay.
And he kills that in the end of the story. But for
That's
me,
fair.
yeah, for me that was fair because it was like they're technically not alive.
Yeah, they're just a
'Cause
big
in
gamma
the-
monster.
Right, because even though the gamma monster was like sentient
Right.
and would like say things and like had opinions and thoughts and stuff, he kind of says in it that like it's not technically alive. It's just going off the remnants of their consciousness. And I was like, fine, I'll let that slide. But he did kill someone, and I was like, no, Spider-Man would never do that. And that's when there's this guy named the Shade. Who,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who like astrally projects, and he's kidnapping all these homeless people.
Right.
And then he's like, yo, Doc Strange, can you send me to the astral plane so I can save these homeless people? And he's like, yeah, sure. And there's an amazing part where he's like, listen, man, we're friends and everything, but I don't know if I trust you with my secret identity, because you're like going into my mind or whatever. And he's like, dog, literally speaking, I could have your fucking full name and your home address appear over you in neon letters. The only reason I don't know who you are is because I don't fucking care. And I was like, yo,
I love Doctor Strange is one of my favorite.
I love Doctor Strange.
I love him and Spider-Man together as a duo.
Yes. And they both do this.
Right. Fucking just them as a duo.
Because Ditko.
Or, yeah. Them as a duo, they're great. Spider-Man and anyone together is great.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Deadpool, Spider-Man, Daredevil.
Yeah. Well, literally, there's not a bad pair up with Spider-Man. He just
Really
plays
does.
off of everyone extremely well.
He really does. And that's what I was getting at is he goes and he finds the Shade, right? Finds all the homeless people, and he like punches the Shade into oblivion. And then this little homeless girl's
Was
like,
he did it on accident, or was he just, or did he just know if I punch this dude right now, I'm gonna kill him?
I don't know how clear it is
That
in
he-
it,
Right?
but that I can. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I would actually let it slide if they left it nebulous as to whether or not Spider-Man knew he was gonna kill him when he did that.
Mm-hmm.
But then he was like, oh fuck, I just killed someone. But here's what he does. This little girl is like, is he gone? As part of he's gone. And he's like, okay, but
What?
is he dead? And he's like, oh
I don't fucking know.
and that's it.
Or in the astral fucking
He's
world.
like-
I fucking punch him. I don't fucking know.
He's literally
Do
just
I
like,
look like a fucking magician to you?
he's literally just like, I don't know. He says something to the effect of like, a lot of my friends have died and come back, and like they said when they died it did them a whole world of good. So who cares?
Damn, no, alright, yeah, I see where you're coming
And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Who cares?
That's fucking hilarious, but no, that's not a Spider-Man move.
Right, it's not Spider-Man. And like I was watching, who was it? I was watching Comic Pop, and they were like, he was like, really the only reason that this happened is because J. Michael Straczynski did not read Spider-Man books before writing one. And I was
That happens
like,
with everyone, though.
yeah, like, you ever seen Bendis' disregard for continuity
And what?
in literally everything?
I don't think I've read any of his shit. Or
Okay.
maybe I have, and I just didn't realize it.
You ever read Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Then you read Bendis.
There we go. See,
You ever read
I'm not good on
anything?
writers.
You ever read anything having to do with Miles Morales that came out before the current run?
Fuck no.
Oh.
I'm not interested in Miles Morales at all. Other than in fucking Into the Spider-Verse. That's the only version of him I would like. Yes.
What was that? What was yes?
Yes, I enjoy this character.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
comics,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of him.
He's okay in the comics. I don't hate him, but I don't love him either. He's
Yeah.
kind of just there.
I've stated this before. Anything from Ultimate Universe, I fucking hate. That isn't like pre Miles Morales. Ultimate Spider-Man.
So you don't like Ultimate Peter?
No, I do. I said pre Miles Morales.
Oh, okay. I love Ultimate Peter.
Yeah.
Honestly, and the Spider-Man community is gonna hate me for this,
Uh-huh.
but I think Ultimate Peter and MCU Peter are my favorite versions of Spider-Man.
Nah. You already know my favorite, Miguel O'Hara.
Oh,
Spider-Man
yeah.
20.
But what's your favorite
29.
version of Peter Parker?
I don't even know, to be honest. Like, to be completely honest, I don't really
The game one is
have
good too.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I just started playing the game.
Right. You just late to the party. But
Truly, I've had it since it came out. I just haven't played
I
it.
beat it in 2 days. The game one is probably like what I would imagine Spider-Man to be, the most.
Right.
Like, excuse me. Like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was well acted, but badly written. He was too inconsistent and too flashy.
It's too cool.
Yeah, it was way too cool. Because here's the thing, right? You can have Spider-Man
Be cool.
Not
you just can't
cool.
have it be.
not
Cool.
necessarily cool. You can have him be like, I'm not necessarily an outcast per se.
Right.
I'm like, because I think that
And the MCU, he's not like a.
he's not an
nerd.
outcast. Here's the thing, he's a nerd, but
Yeah,
the
but
thing
he's
about
not
it is-
like, ha, look at you, you're a fucking nerd. Don't talk to
exactly.
me.
But that's the thing, that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And that's what I love about Homecoming is the fact that I think it understands the current social hierarchy of high school
Right.
better
Where,
than anything
like,
else.
There's, like, high school today isn't like tier
Give me your
listed.
lunch money.
Yeah, it's not like tier listed. Everyone's just kind of a mix, and everyone's cool with each other.
Right, like,
Like-
you don't get beat up for
Right.
being smart. If
Like,
anything, you
I
just,
was like an athlete
Right.
before I was a theater kid, but I am friends with both athlete and
And
theater
theater
kids,
kids.
and then I'm also friends with like nerd anime kids.
right, and then you can be in theater and hate theater kids.
Right.
Or you know what I'm saying? So I think that I think that the high school that was portrayed in the original comics and
Uh-huh.
in like the 2002 movie and all that stuff.
It's accurate to
The time.
The time.
Right. I think it was accurate then, but it's wildly inaccurate now.
Yeah.
Because like, okay. Like Flash Thompson is a bully, right?
Right.
I know jocks. Jocks don't really exist actually, per se. But here's
Not,
the thing.
not anymore.
Right. And what's really interesting is that it's kind of meta because part of the reason why nerds aren't outcasts anymore is because of the MCU.
Right.
And the MCU kind of has to portray
It's
that
because-
effect that it had on real life
Right.
in its movie.
It's literally because, not necessarily because of the MCU, but because
MCU's part of it. Nerd
Yeah.
culture has become more acceptable
It's
through
become
the
more
fact
like
that
like the Cartoon Network shows.
not even that, like Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Because like when
Like-
Lord of the Rings came out in like the early 2000s and they were like, oh shit, this fucking stupid fantasy book that I used to bully kids for reading is actually like makes a good movie.
Right.
Meaning it's a good piece of media. So like I'm considered cool when I know everything there is to know about Marvel Comics because
Right.
everyone's reading, everyone's watching the MCU movies.
And it's like, oh shit, you read the comics, you're cool.
Right, because you
Like-
know things.
Right. It's like, did you know like this about such and such? And they're like, no,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
That's interesting. And
Right.
then when it comes to like just being intelligent, being a bookworm, is that you tend to gravitate towards other people who are like that. So like you're gonna have friends. Your friends are gonna be nerds too,
Right.
but you're gonna have friends. And the jocks or the cool people aren't gonna care about you enough to hate you if they even.
Right.
Then that's to say that they're not already friends with you because people
Right.
are cool with each other off of nothing nowadays.
Right.
What is that like anime?
Anime? See,
Yeah.
I used to be a big anime person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I kind of skipped the anime phase in middle school.
yeah, I haven't really watched a whole lot of anime
Right.
recently.
Yeah.
I've been more into reading comics
Right.
mostly lately.
Right.
Is what I've been spending a lot of my free time doing.
Let's see. I can count on like I like anime, right? But I
Right.
can literally count on my fingers the amount of anime that I've actually like watched.
Yeah, I've watched a shit ton of anime because I had, like you said, from like 7th grade to 9th grade.
Right.
Like, it
Yeah,
was
that's the
only
anime
form of-
phase.
Right. It,
Everyone
it,
has
it was
that.
like the only.
I just watch
media
whatever.
watched.
Yeah, I just watch whatever people told me to. Like my friend Terrence, all he does is watch anime,
Right.
and he's like,
Yeah,
tall,
yeah,
like
yeah.
what you're saying.
Right.
But what was the first anime ever? The first anime anyone's ever seen is like Pokemon. Obviously.
Right, like Pokemon, Dragon Ball,
Right.
Naruto.
Yeah. Exactly. It was Pokemon, and then I learned what anime was. No, I didn't really know anime.
I didn't know what anime was
Until I watched
like
Soul
7th
Eater.
grade.
Yeah, I watched Pokemon and then I watched Dragon Ball, and I still didn't really know what anime
Right.
was. And
I
then,
just thought that was like normal cartoons.
exactly, and then I started watching, and then like my elementary school friends were trying to put me on Soul Eater
Yeah.
from back then. and
Soul
I
Eater was
like,
the
okay.
first anime I watched where it was like,
This
I know
is
an anime.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so in 6th grade I watched Soul Eater and I actually finished it, and I was like, wow, that was really good. And then that's when Attack on Titan got popular.
Yeah.
And I watched like 5 episodes of that, and I was like,
did
this
not
sucks.
watch Attack on Titan
Me
for
neither.
years.
Oh,
And then I watched it, and I loved it.
really?
I loved the first 2 seasons.
I don't like it. I mean, I watched
everything
up to the
after
part,
that. I have not.
I watched up
and
to
I
the
haven't
part
been
where
able to.
Aaron was like, "Oh, I'm a Titan now, and I gotta move this rock," and I was like, "This is boring."
Yeah, I was such a big Attack on Titan fan where like I own some of the special edition manga covers.
Wow.
With they had one where the artist from The Walking Dead did one.
Oh, that's dope. Robert Kirkman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dope.
And he did well, it was like a sleeve that went on the actual cover of the book,
Mhm.
and he drew that, and I saw that in like a Barnes and Noble in like fucking 7th grade,
Just
and I
copped
was
it.
like, yo.
Yeah. So
And
after
I caught that shit.
after Attack on Titan, they tried to put me on Sword Art Online.
I really enjoyed Sword Art Online until I really got big into understanding what good media is. And when
Once I learned what good media is, I
yeah,
realized
like one of the things I want
to
do when I get older is I want to be a screenwriter, and like
Screenwriter.
write scripts.
Yo, you should
So-
write me a script and I'll like direct it,
Right,
dog. 'Cause I'm
like-
trying to be a director. You feel me?
Like that's one of the things I want to do when I grow up.
Mm.
So
Screenwriter.
when like I started paying a lot of attention to how things are written, how characters are written,
Right,
how
arcs.
scenes are written,
Right.
and then like the 2nd or 3rd season of Sword Art Online came out around that time,
Mhm.
and I watched that,
Mm.
and I was like, yo.
See,
Was Sword Art Online always this fucking bad?
here's the thing, right? A good, well-written, well-executed story. It's so hard to analyze
Right.
because it's like, I love this, but why do I love
Right.
this?
There are things that I've like movies and stuff where
Mhm.
I've watched and like they're trash, but I'm like, I love that.
Right.
Uh,
And it's hard to say like why you love it. You just kind
there's
of
just like a charm to it.
exactly. That's how I feel about like Spider-Man 1.
Right.
Like I don't think I could sit down and itemize and explain to people what I find good about that movie.
There's just so much charm in the
In it, so much
in the
heart.
Raimi movies.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you in or are you out? You're the one who's out,
Willem
Bobby.
Dafoe as Green Goblin is the best thing that ever
Don't
happened
even
in my life.
talk about Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin. You don't know nothing about that.
Literally the
Willem
best
Dafoe
thing
as Green
that ever
Goblin
happened.
is everything.
Legitimately, it was the best thing that ever happened.
But he chews the scenery like it's gum, dog.
Honestly, his suit from that movie looks so fucking cool.
Everyone, okay, I was watching a video about it the other day. Everyone hates it. Everyone says
I
he looks like a
love
Power
it.
Ranger.
No, I love it.
I thought it was great too. I love
it.
the mask.
Bro, just like Willem Dafoe as an actor is amazing.
Yes, Willem Dafoe's a
He's a legend.
incredible.
And his performance, especially the scene where he's looking in the mirror and he's having a conversation between the Green Goblin
Osborn, we attack his heart.
and he's having a conversation between his like split personalities, Osborn and the Green Goblin, and like when and it pans between, but then at the end of it, it shows them both at the same time, and you can see like because before that it was like mirror him,
Right.
mirror
Mirror
him,
him.
but then it was mirror and him, and you could see how he would literally just switch,
Yes.
and it was amazing.
It was incredible. It was so
Uh,
good.
and it
Willem
was like,
Dafoe, bruh.
yeah, like
Nothing will ever
like
compare.
but before that, like you would really think that was like 2 different takes, but no, it was the same.
He did it
take.
in one. He did
He
it back
literally just went back and forth with
because
himself.
he's that good of an actor.
Right.
Doc, it's what I was just saying. I can't explain to you why Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin is everything that I've ever wanted and then some.
Right.
It just is.
Because if you look at like different iterations of that character, he's nothing like them.
Yeah, nothing. But
Nothing.
he's still perfect.
Exactly. Like he encapsulates Green Goblin and Norman Osborn
Better than Green Goblin and Norman Osborn.
legitimately.
What's really funny is how seriously Willem Dafoe like took that role.
Oh yeah.
Like he's just like, listen, I just love the duality of the
Sleep.
characters.
It's so
cheesy,
good.
but
It's so
it's
cheesy. It's so amazing.
It's amazing.
Motherfucking
Wrong
sleep.
answer.
Wrong answer.
Or
Up
or
here,
what's the
it's me.
one
You're
that
like
my
a
mom
son to me.
hates?
And then boop.
Godspeed, Spider-Man. What's the
Yeah.
thing that my mom hates? Oh no! I use this in my day-to-day. I always go finish it, because my mom hates the scene where like Aunt May's like praying, and he bursts through the thing and he screams that, and she's like, to deliver us from evil.
No. My favorite thing is the burning building, and then he turns around and he's in the fucking babushka. And it's just and it's literally just turns around. It's Green Goblin.
Yes,
in
and
the
he like
babushka.
screams. Yeah.
It's so
perfect.
it's so funny.
It's so perfect.
It's just
incredible.
It's so cheesy. It's so campy, but it's
perfect.
everything I've ever wanted.
Or the scene at the end. Scene at the end gave me goosebumps as a little kid, where he's like, this is why only fools are heroes. You'll never know when some lunatic will come up with a sadistic choice.
Literally. And how, like, towards the end, Green Goblin has become the dominant personality, and he's
Right.
able to, like, imitate Norman now.
Yes!
And,
That-
like,
I
where
remember
he's
watching
like,
that
"Oh."
recently and kind of questioning whether or not Norman came out for a second,
No,
or if Goblin
that
was
was
just
all
pretending
Goblin.
to be Norman, right?
And that's why, like, he goes to Godspeed Spider-Man, straight face as fuck.
right.
Because he is the dominant personality now, and he's just able to
And
imitate
there's
Norman.
a great moment during the Thanksgiving scene.
Mhm.
I think High Top Films was all over this scene, but there's a
Where
great
he's carving a
moment.
turkey.
Yeah, he's carving the
Yeah.
turkey, but when he sees the cut on Peter's
His
arm and
arm.
realizes who he is,
Yes.
he kind of transitions into
Yeah.
being from Norman to the Goblin.
Goblin.
And then Goblin is kind of there reserved, like just trying to not like go nuts in that moment, and that's why he's like, I
Right.
gotta go.
Right.
And then he's an asshole, he's like, do what you need to with her, then burn her fast.
Yeah, like, just the level of acting in that movie is so campy,
So,
but
like-
so good.
Here's the thing, upon rewatching it, and this is why I say I like MCU Peter and Ultimate Peter more than, other versions,
Right.
is because I felt like Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker represented what a nerd outcast would be,
Right.
but he didn't represent what Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
Like
I
the
agree.
personality of Peter Parker in the comics, both in Ultimate and in the main universe. Like I went back and I read like the Steve Ditko, Stan Lee stuff,
Right.
and although Peter's like a nerd and he gets bullied and everything, he never he always stands up for himself.
Yeah.
Like whenever Flash gives him shit, he's like, no, like fuck you, Flash. Like I'm smarter than you. Like I'm better than you. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like he has an air of confidence to him, even though he's always down on his luck.
Right.
And I felt like
in the Raimi movies,
Mhm.
not that he doesn't have that,
but that's the thing. I don't
but
feel like
he
does.
has it only after he gains power.
Exactly. He has it as a result of Spider-Man.
He gains all of his confidence due to the body transformation scene.
Right. Then
Where-
again, I didn't read Spider-Man's original origin, and I don't necessarily know if
Yeah, I've never gone back and
I didn't read
read
I
the
didn't read
standard stuff.
Amazing Fantasy number 15.
Yeah.
I read Spider-Man number 1 though.
Right.
But I don't know if in his original origin he still stands up for himself in that same way. So maybe it is a result of
Spider-Man.
the spider bite.
Right.
But even in like Spider-Man 2 and stuff, when he already has his powers, he still kind of is like Peter Parker is still kind of this like soft-spoken, line-whispering, like meek, and that's not who Spider-Man is. Although Spider-Man
Right.
gets a lot of shit thrown at him, he always stands up for himself
Yeah,
and says fuck you to whoever's oppressing him. There's a great moment in Ultimate Spider-Man that I love, where like he wants to, where J. Jonah Jameson's reporting on how Spider-Man is a menace or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's like, but what about the Kingpin? Like you give Kingpin a pass, but there's video footage of Kingpin killing people, of like crushing a guy's head, and he's like, why are we saying Spider-Man's a menace when he's only done good, but we're not saying anything about Kingpin, who is clearly a criminal?
Speaking, or not really speaking of,
Uh-huh.
but I think a good example of that was in the Spider-Man PS4 game,
Mhm.
where you find one of the Daily Bugle's like front pages on Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it's like
about the
Spider-Man killing cops, and
Yeah.
he's like, I quit because of this.
Right, and he's like, and if you actually read it, it's talking about where he's like, none of this would have ever happened if Spider-Man wasn't like posing for cameras and stuff.
Yeah, I read it.
And then, but like he's like, Spider-Man killed these cops, and then
Kinda.
the exact next sentence, he's like, don't get me wrong, I know it was
Electro.
Electro who actually killed them, but Spider-Man killed them.
Right, and it's like you're literally contradicting
Right.
yourself. But in the Ultimate Universe, when he says that, J. Jonah is like, when he questions his authority, J. Jonah fires him like
Right.
immediately, and then he comes back and he's like, I want my floppy disks because
Yeah.
it's 2001, and he's like, I want my floppy disks back, and he's like, take them, and then he's like, oh, by the way, Peter, it's not what you said,
It's how you said it.
right?
And
And and Peter literally turns around and he says, that's a load.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a load. And he's like, it's not that, it wasn't how I said it. Because I asked you in like a very calm and nice way. I asked you a question that you didn't like, or that the answer to would have been something that you knew was morally questionable, so you fired me because I
Right.
pointed out that you were doing something wrong.
Right.
Don't beat around the bush and pretend that's not what it was.
They-
and then he dips.
They allude to that,
Right.
like that kind of thing where J. Jonah Jameson does give a pass to Kingpin in the PS4 game, where he's talking about like the first time you hear his radio show.
Mm-hmm. Just the facts.
Yeah, he was talking about how, like, Kingpin was a criminal,
Mm-hmm.
but he was the criminal keeping all of these
Other
lesser
criminals in check.
away.
Yeah.
And then, really quickly you start to realize,
Yeah.
And Spider-Man literally
Quips
comments
about
on
it.
it.
Yeah, he's like,
do I miss him?
Nah. I love that quip so much. But he's like, Kingpin really was keeping all these wannabe
Right.
pushers in check, and it's like
Because, the way Kingpin is,
Kingpin's great, by the way.
there's a reason that Kingpin is taken down sparsely.
Right.
It's because everyone knows what he is and what he does. It's just that he's literally there staving off something worse.
Right. He not even that, but he has the money to go around it and do whatever he wants. So it's like, oh yeah, he's a criminal, but he gives to charity and he kisses puppies on the weekends.
Right. Like, he's a criminal, but and he's fucked up, but he does a lot of good
Right.
as well.
Can I just say, Kingpin, like Wilson Fisk from the Daredevil show,
He's amazing.
in my opinion, he's the best MCU villain. Period.
I don't know if I really. I mean, I know they're part of the MCU, and
Yes.
they
Technically.
and in Daredevil, or not Daredevil, with Defenders,
Mhm.
they allude to the Avengers attacks, or like they make a comment
No,
on it.
no, they do. In Jessica Jones, she specifically mentions the Battle of New York.
Yeah,
Not like by name or anything,
but like
but she does reference
it's-
them.
Right.
And there are like newspaper clippings of a bunch of MCU events. But the Battle of New York is really what they reference a lot.
Yeah,
because
it's the
right.
it's Avengers.
What makes me upset is the fact that they never reference the Incredible Hulk. Because he has that line in Avengers where he's like, last time I was in New York, I kind of broke Harlem.
Right.
And literally all of Luke Cage takes place in Harlem.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe they're more broke because the Hulk fucking fucked up their infrastructure by destroying everything.
So I know that they're technically a part of the MCU, but it's like they don't really acknowledge it at all.
The MCU doesn't acknowledge them.
But they don't really acknowledge the MCU
do
outside of the Battle of New York.
Yeah, they do on occasion. There's a scene in Luke Cage
It's
where
like
everyone's like,
loosely connected.
yeah, there's a scene in Luke Cage where a guy's like selling footage from the
Yeah.
Battle of New York, and there's that scene where there's like these racists that don't like Jessica Jones because she has powers, and she's like, then go after the green guy or the flag waver. I wasn't even there.
Right.
And there's references to those heroes, but
Yeah.
because they don't intend to cross over.
Yeah, it's like just a very loose connection.
It's
they
extremely
were,
loose.
I know the Inhumans movie got canceled, which was whack.
No, the Inhumans movie got canceled and they turned it into a show instead.
Did they?
Yeah,
On what?
on ABC.
Just one.
It was a while ago. You probably didn't hear of it because it was fucking garbage. I heard that it was like really, really shit.
Yeah.
Did
Plus,
you
I don't
watch,
watch. I don't watch network television.
Me neither. I used to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but
No, the only thing I liked out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was bringing the best Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes.
I actually like Robbie Reyes. I read
love
a couple issues of the current Avengers run, and he was in that. And
Yeah,
he was really, really tight.
he's the only like respectable version because of course Johnny Blaze is cool and all.
You don't like Danny Ketch?
No, I literally despise Danny Ketch. And when I talk about Ghost Rider, there was literally something because we were talking about it, me and Daniel, and he brought it up. Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Isn't that like Punisher?
Yeah, it's the worst thing that ever happened.
I heard that was really, really good.
I hate it.
Why?
They should be separate characters.
Punisher and Ghost Rider?
Yes.
Or Cosmic Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider?
No. The Punisher. Okay, I hate that first of all, the Punisher and the Ghost Rider became one character. And then B, they spend his ass to space.
I don't like when they take the Punisher and they do outlandish shit with him.
Yes.
Like when he was Frankencastle or whatever.
Just keep him as Frank Castle.
Oh, dude, remember when he was black?
Yes. They do that with everyone.
My what?
Like, remember when Nick Fury was white?
No. That's different because at least white Nick Fury and black Nick Fury are two different characters.
Yeah, but like...
Because the context of the Punisher becoming black is that, like, he was like, I need you to do surgery on me so I can be unrecognizable. And then she does the surgery and he wakes up black and he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, you wanted to be unrecognizable.
No, I know you haven't seen it, but the Netflix Punisher show.
Oh, by the way, before I forget, our previous theater teacher,
Gary?
yeah, he had that issue.
What issue?
The issue where the
White
Punisher's
turns
black. Yes, he owned it. He
Yo.
brought all his comics to school for me to read, and I was going through them, and I found it. He had like the 5-issue like arc of it, and I was gonna read it. I was this close, but then he left. I was so mad.
But
The Punisher show.
Yeah, the Punisher show.
Uh-huh.
That is the type of stories where the Punisher belongs.
Duh.
Really grounded,
The only-
small scale
The
stories.
only like expanding of the Punisher character beyond him just being a gun-toting vigilante, I think, there are literally 2 of those, and one of them is when he like became War Machine.
Right.
That's acceptable
actually like that.
enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
And the other
makes
one
sense,
is
kind of.
like I don't remember what I was gonna say. I don't remember what it was. What I was even gonna fucking say. But Cosmic Ghost Rider, no.
Yeah.
Him in Hell, no.
No.
Fucking Franken-Castle, no.
Just Frank Castle needs small stakes
Yes.
and a small setting.
Yes. He's
Like,
a street level character.
exactly. He needs to be kept that way.
Right. I think there are characters that can be street level but can go beyond, like
Daredevil,
Spider-Man.
for one. I like how he became like the All-Seer.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he got the powers of Heimdall and could see everything now.
That's
and I love that.
Is
It was he basically became a god,
that's kind of cool.
and it was
but
awesome.
That's not War of the Realms, is it? It's the current thing, right?
Yes, the current thing. It might have started with War of the Realms, but I don't think so.
No.
Because
See, Daredevil
the only
becoming-
exposure I had to War of the Realms was the current Doctor Strange run, where they kind of intertwined.
Yeah, I didn't read.
Little bit.
I'm not reading any of War of the Realms. I don't really read events.
Yeah.
But I think Daredevil becoming like the possessed by a demon or whatever, and like the leader of the Hand in Shadowland.
Yeah.
That is like an expansion of the Daredevil character that I can accept.
Right.
That's fine.
Him becoming a god was cool. Like, him
I don't know how I
gaining
feel about that.
I forget exactly what they actually call him
Mm-hmm.
now that he's like a god
Mm-hmm.
who can see everything.
Right.
But I think it's cool, just because Daredevil is a character that can work on in big scales.
I don't know. I feel like Spider-Man can work in big scale, but only because he A, has actual powers, and B, is like the most popular fucking character on the planet.
Right.
But again, I guess that works too, because I wouldn't necessarily say that you have to keep Batman low-key. I'd say that you
Right.
can do whatever you want with him, but that's because he's A, the most popular character, and B, intertwined with the Justice League so heavily that he's already fought a million different fucking types of, aliens and shit.
Right.
And spirits and demons and whatever the fuck, and fights people that have powers on the day-to-day, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Clayface and everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of the characters that are street level
Mm-hmm.
can
beyond.
go into the cosmic realm and
Right.
shit.
And that would be acceptable.
Punisher's not one of them.
I definitely agree with that, because Punisher's whole thing is I just fucking shoot people who are
Right.
bad. Like,
It's like, if he thought Thanos, what the fuck would happen? He'd get his ass beat.
duh.
Like keep him on a small scale.
Right, right.
Don't send him up into the fucking cosmos.
I mean, here's the thing, right? If Doctor Strange wanted to open one extra portal and bring in the Defenders and Punisher, I wouldn't have complained.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been a nice way to be like, hey,
Right. Just give
they
him
actually
a
are
minigun.
part of the MCU.
Right. Just give him a minigun and have him mow down some Outriders and call it a day.
Yeah, don't have them fight like the Dark Legion or Thanos.
Yeah.
Have them in the corner
Punisher,
fighting.
Punisher
some
does
dudes.
not need to go up against what are those for?
They're-
The Black Order.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to fight the Black Order and
Yeah.
Thanos and a Leviathan. Just let him
Yeah.
shoot some Outriders and call it a
Right.
day.
Let them fight like the 10 Outriders.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Call it a day. And it's that was a lot of itses. I have a stutter. I am fucking Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson actually had a stutter.
Yeah, I know.
That's why he says motherfucker. Because
Yeah. Motherfucker.
like anytime you just be like motherfucker, and then he would be like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah. See, my first real exposure to the Marvel Universe
Mhm.
was Spider-Man Friend or Foe.
This is the first time I ever met Iron Fist.
Yeah, and then from there I went
Childhood
into
game.
the Ultimate Alliance, the first one, and I was
Who
like,
played that?
And then, so that's how I got to know all these characters. And then Iron Man came out, and then I was like, wait a second.
For
Why
me,
is Nick Fury black? That like, in my like fucking 7-year-old mind, that was like the first thing that came to mind. I was like, that's not right.
You know what's funny? When they recast Terrence Howard as Don Cheadle, which is funny because both those actors are black, but they look nothing alike at fucking all.
Yeah.
That's because Ike Perlmutter's a racist and just thinks all black people look the same.
Pretty much.
And
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
Like in an interview?
Yeah, not in an interview. Like he said it to like Feige, and Feige released it.
Yeah.
But he was like, black people look the same. No one's gonna notice. What's really fucked up is I watched the first Iron Man when it came out.
Yeah.
And then I just forgot about it.
Same.
And then I watched
Iron Man 2.
No, I watched Iron Man Armored Adventures.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh shit, Iron Man has a black friend. And all I remembered was Iron Man has a black friend. So then I watched Iron Man 2, not noticing
Yeah, same.
that it was a different guy.
I watched Iron Man 1 and then I watched Iron Man 2.
Right.
And I never went back and watched Iron Man 1, so it took me like until like 2 years ago to realize 2 different people played Rhodey.
Yeah. And then when I did realize it, I was mad. I was
Yeah.
mad because they don't look anything alike.
Yeah,
And
I
in
was
the
like, how
original-
did I not notice
In the
that?
original Batman movies too, this really pissed me off, is because Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent in the first one, but he doesn't become Two-Face.
Right.
But then they try to say that the Schumacher movies and the Burton movies are in the same continuity, and then in Batman Forever, Tommy Lee Jones is Two-Face.
Right.
And it's like, how? Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and say, oh, Billy D. Williams and Tommy Lee Jones are different races. Dog, maybe it would be acceptable if they looked slightly alike.
Yeah. I agree. I think all of them are pretty trash.
You don't like Batman 89?
It's alright. It's not like, it's not amazing.
It's good.
Yeah, it's serviceable.
Batman Returns is good, but it's fucking weird.
Yeah. Nipple suit Batman is the worst thing that ever happened.
Correct.
Don't at me.
George Clooney Batman is not Batman.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Robert Pattinson Batman?
See, I actually brought this up to you during school.
Yeah, you did.
And actually, before you came in, I brought it up with Ryan.
You were talking to Ryan today?
Yeah. No, not today.
Oh.
The day we were talking.
Oh, right.
We like he was in there and we were in there and I was like, so have you heard about it? He was like, yeah. And I was like, what do you think? And then he was like, I don't really like it. And I'm like, I think it can be good because Robert Pattinson is a really, really good actor.
Yeah, I saw videos praising him pop up after he got announced as Batman.
Yeah, he's a really great actor.
I'm just gonna take it like this, right? When people heard that Heath Ledger was cast as Joker,
yeah,
they said,
everyone
"Ew,
did,
Brokeback Joker, that's gonna be trash." And then
Right.
he was the greatest Joker of all time. So I'm just gonna wait for the actual movie to come out
Right.
before I pass off any judgment.
See, and the thing that
I actually
really
didn't even
interested
think
me.
I didn't even think Ben Affleck was gonna be a good Batman.
I don't like Ben Affleck.
But I did. Like I thought he was gonna be terrible, and then he was my favorite. Because I'm just saying their expectations can
Right.
be,
yeah,
played with.
I know everyone is looking at Robert Pattinson being like, ew, Twilight.
Right.
And he was ass in those movies.
Right.
'cause He was ass in those movies.
But those movies were ass.
Right.
Like you could put Daniel Day-Lewis in Twilight, and it would still probably be trash.
Exactly. There was a movie he was in, like, almost directly after Twilight. And I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But it was another, like, love story scenario thing.
Oh, great.
And in that movie,
Mm-hmm.
he was fucking amazing. And I
Really?
was like, whoa, can he act?
Yeah, apparently so.
And then like I watched a few other of his movies and I was like, whoa, he can act.
I've literally never seen Robert Pattinson in a movie before. So for me to say that he's going to be good or he's going to be bad is kind of not fair. Because I didn't fucking watch Twilight.
Right.
Because I was never a 12-year-old girl.
I know for a fact
Mhm.
he's a good actor.
Right.
And I know for a fact he could really pull off a good Batman. I feel like anyone could really pull off a good Batman as long as they have an understanding of the source material.
As long as they understand the character of Batman
Right.
and they know how to act.
And they're written well.
Right. Which I trust Matt Reeves because all the Planet of the Apes movies are really good.
Yes, I agree. So I'm waiting on that.
I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to see the Ben Affleck written and directed version of that though. I know you don't like Ben Affleck Batman,
I really don't.
but I've heard
But I
nothing
feel
but
like
good
that's
things about his movies.
I feel like yeah.
I feel like it's the
he's,
writing.
He's a great director.
Right.
Ben Affleck really is.
I think you just don't like the writing of that Batman.
That Batman, Zack Snyder doesn't understand the characters, and I feel like it's okay because he tried to make those characters his own.
Right.
So I really liked Man of Steel.
Right.
But that was just because the trailer really made me think it was going to be an all-star Superman
I know.
movie.
Let me ask
where
you
I got
this.
played.
Right? Let me ask you this. Do you think that purely on an acting level that Ben Affleck failed in that film?
No, absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah, I feel Ben Affleck is a good actor,
Mhm.
and his performance was good. So was Henry Cavill's performance.
Mhm.
They're both really good performances. They're both amazing.
I think I
actors.
feel the same way about that as you do. I feel like I feel the same way how you feel about that. I feel about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Right.
I think that he's poorly written, but Andrew Garfield is a fantastic actor.
Yes.
Like, I like his acting in those movies. Everything that he was told to do, he did perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, I love this scene where it's basically great power, great responsibility. Where
Yeah.
they rip the scene out of the Ultimate Comics where he's like, oh, your dad had this thing where he believed that if you had the ability to do something right, then you should do it. And he's like, he didn't think that it was his. Then where is he then? He didn't think that it was his responsibility to come and tell me this himself.
Right.
I think that he, as an actor, did a perfect job in that scene.
I really
In that
liked
movie.
Ultimate Spider-Man 1.
I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yes, there we go.
I
I really enjoyed it. I feel like the series as a whole could have really gone somewhere if Amazing Spider-Man 2 never existed.
Here's the thing about Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? Everything about that movie is terrible except one thing.
What's that?
The action.
I disagree.
Really?
Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have
Oh yeah, that's
amazing
That's
chemistry
too.
together.
Their chemistry. Oh,
Is
don't add me.
amazing.
Don't add me. The relationship between Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker in
In
those
those
movies
movies?
is better than the Raimi trilogy.
legit.
Do not add me.
It's-
Mary Jane is a fucking bitch in those movies.
Yeah. Their chemistry together as actors and their
Oh, yeah,
their
they did in
scenes
real life,
together,
yeah.
and their scenes are written extremely well. It's some of the few points in those movies that are actually written extremely well.
I feel like 80% of that is just improv.
I agree.
But it's like y'all are in love. Just get on camera
Yeah.
and be yourself.
because during that time they were actually dating, so
Right.
they had that actual chemistry to
Right.
play off of with
Right,
each
right,
other.
right. Yeah.
And then so when she actually ended up dying, it felt real. Like it
Right.
felt like he was actually heartbroken
That scene is
about it.
very well shot. I love
Yeah.
that scene.
And like
I think the hand for me under the spider web is a little corny. I
yeah.
kind of think that's fucking dumb, but I did
I
like
like
the way
the
they did that. That got me, bro. I held my breath in that theater, bro. I remember
like, where it just climbed, like the score climbs and climbs and climbs, and it snapped. Nothing. Like I was like,
because I knew she was gonna die because I was
Right.
aware of the comics. And
Right.
I read the night when Gwen Stacy died. Actually,
Yeah.
it's actually really anticlimactic,
Yes, I.
but it's
So
still good.
in my opinion, the movie actually does it better than the comics did.
The death itself,
The death itself, yeah.
yeah, it makes it more dramatic. But I
Right.
think that the idea of the original comic was for it to be anticlimactic, just so you could be like, look, anything can happen.
Right.
Like no one is safe. You know.
Yeah. And I feel like the same thing
Mhm.
happened with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, where they were just
Studio mandates just
Yeah,
didn't let the director
and,
do what they want.
like they wouldn't let the director do what he wanted,
Mhm.
and they were trying to push too many things into the movie
Correct.
at once.
Setting up Sinister Six movies and a whole
Yeah.
Spider-Man cinematic universe, it just no.
Yeah.
For me,
Um,
for me, I like their chemistry. I like the action. I
Yeah.
literally don't like anything else. Like I hate the villains in in that movie. There is one thing in the Amazing Spider-Man because I don't like the characterization of Peter Parker in those movies.
I agree.
Like I hate
He's
the
too
fuck.
cool.
Not even that he's too cool. He's too much of an asshole.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's an
He's-
asshole,
he-
but that guy's
right.
too much of an asshole. Like when he first
I like the
encounters,
scene where he was with the mugger, because that it is something.
I hate that scene.
It starts out as something Spider-Man 2, but then he goes way too overboard with it.
Exactly. It starts out
It's-
quintessential
it's-
Spider-Man, and then
Where
he
he's like,
webs
"What?
into
What?"
the walls, and then he pantses them, and
Yeah.
I'm like, stop.
No, yeah.
He's already done.
Right, like Spider-Man would like whip around the dude, and then like
He would
little
pants
tiny
him too.
knife,
Right.
and then cha-chit.
Right. But he
And
just
then-
sits there and talks a bunch of shit.
Right.
The other thing I
That's
don't
not
like,
Spider-Man.
he has a different motivation to become a Spider-Man in that, which is revenge,
Right.
and I don't like that. I like
Me
the
neither.
power-responsibility dynamic. The moment in
Yeah.
that movie where he becomes Spider-Man is the one where he saves the kid in the car,
Yeah.
which is a good scene, but
He gives the kid his mask and stuff.
Yeah, I like that scene.
Yeah.
It was good. Also, High Top Films pointed out the themes of like fatherhood and like missing fathers and father figures, and if that's really what they were going for, they folded incredibly hard on the Lizard, and they could have had one of the most compelling villains in Spider-Man movies at the time. Because all they had you ever seen the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon? Or animated series? The Spectacular Spider-Man, the one that was like, it had like a simple art style.
The old one?
The one before Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
Animated series. Yeah. With the simple art style. Yeah, there's that Lizard episode does better for the Lizard than that entire movie.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't dislike him in the movie, but it wasn't.
I like the CGI. I mean, it was a good design.
Yeah, but it watered him down a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Here's what that episode of Spectacular Spider-Man did. He transforms into the Lizard, but he's not like the original comic, and he's not like the movie where he's like kind of sentient and kind of still a scientist and kind of a smart guy. He just becomes a savage lizard monster and like runs off. And then the whole idea is that Peter Parker, not even Spider-Man, is like comforting his son Billy, and he's like, listen, your dad is gonna be here. I'm gonna go save your dad. Like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And then he dips as Spider-Man, and then when he comes back, they're like, Pete, why weren't you helping us create an antidote to cure Dr. Connors? And he was like, oh, and then they see that he took the pictures of it for the Daily Bugle, and he's like, oh, so you left the scene to take pictures and gain some money, and you didn't help Doc Connors. So you let Spider-Man create the cure and come help us, but you didn't want to do nothing. And he was like, see what happy was, and they're like, fuck you, we hate you. Which is quintessential Spider-Man in my opinion. Well, here's what I'm trying to get at, right? I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go.
But here's what I'm trying to get at here. All they had to do is, instead of make him like a scientist, smart guy, all they had to do was make him a savage lizard monster, right? Introduce Kurt Connor's son Billy, right? And have Peter interact with him, right? Maybe they have like a big brother dynamic, right?
Right.
And all you had to do was, Peter's big motivation for stopping the Lizard is, I have to save Billy. And the thematic implication of it is, I have to save Billy, I have to get Billy his father back, because I know what it's like to lose a father 2 times over.
In the comics, didn't the Lizard eat Billy?
Yes! How'd you know that?
I remember that.
You read it?
Yeah, I remember reading that. Like, I actually thought like that wasn't real for a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was playing the Spider-Man game yesterday, and I was talking to my brother because he doesn't read comics, but he watched a lot of videos.
Right.
So he has like a decent understanding of the universe and stuff. And I was like, hey, am I tripping? Because I found the blood vial, and he was talking about like in one of the backpacks, and he was talking about Dr. Connors. I was like, hey, am I tripping, or did the fucking Lizard eat his son?
Here's the thing, I didn't know that at all, but I'm reading the current Amazing Run,
Right.
and in it, Peter and Kurt are talking, and he's like, as Kurt Connors, and he's like, Billy knows. Because Billy is alive at this point, and he's also like a lizard kid too. He's a lizard too. I don't remember why. Kurt Connors did this thing where his family got a virus or something, and the only way to save them was to make them all lizard people.
Okay.
But Peter is talking to Kurt, and Kurt's like Billy knows. Billy knows that he's a clone. Because Black Cat is like saving Billy, and he's like, Billy knows that he's a clone, and I need to save Clone Billy because I cannot live with the fact that I ate my real fucking son.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I don't know what's gonna happen when I do find Billy, because I'm 90% sure that Billy knows that he isn't the real Billy and that I ate him.
Right. I enjoy
I remember
the
freaking
dynamics
the fuck
of
out
those
when I
type
read
of
that.
characters.
Yeah.
Where it's like where one's a monster
And the other is like you reminded me of the Hulk.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like the Hulk and like the scientist monster dynamic.
Right.
It's a
The
good
Jekyll and
dynamic.
Hyde.
Right. It's
Right.
a good dynamic.
That's why Stanley plays with it so much.
Right.
Because he liked Jekyll and Hyde when he read it or watched it or whatever.
Right. And I don't even remember what comic that's really from.
Me neither. I have no idea.
Originally
They referenced that in the current run, and I was like, what the fuck?
Like, I don't even remember if I read that or if I just like watched something about it. Like Like that was just like a thing in the back of my head that I vaguely
Am I
remembered.
tripping?
Yeah.
Did Billy or did Kurt eat his son?
Like I don't even remember like how I figured that out. Like I might have read the comic that was in. I might have like watched a video talking about it. So
But yeah.
Pretty much.
So that's all for today. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. You got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can come find my Twitch channel, Stefa_OO. I occasionally stream League. That's about it.
I didn't even know he played League.
Yeah.
If everything goes right, his link will be in the description. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't do outros. So this video is officially coming to an end, like now-ish, like kind of now. Like